So, hello everyone. Welcome to Miriam's Mindset. I want to welcome one of my dearest friends. And you know how you have friends that you can call on at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning? Well, this is one of mine. And this is Dr. Selena. Selena, welcome to one of my YouTube. Maybe it's going to be a series. I don't know yet, but I'll see as I go. But I have been talking to my viewers about burnout and talking about like going from burnout to breakthrough. And a lot of times when we think about breakthrough, we're thinking about a success story or an immediate like financial breakthrough to how much money are they making now. But sometimes there's still a journey, and that breakthrough is in the journey. Just the fact that you got out of your previous situation is a breakthrough from the past, and I firmly believe that I'm doing it now. And I think that that's something that you're doing also. And so that's really where I want to marinate in this session that we're talking about. And so, Dr. Selena, I know we've been friends for a very long time, and we met when we met at a church, and you were working for the school system in New York. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that and what your experience was and what you were feeling at church and at the school system?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you. I thank you for that introduction. Yes, I am your 2 a.m. friend as you are mine. And we always are able to be thought partners in different ventures. So this is exciting. And I love the whole Miriam's mindset concept. So, first of all, thank you for having me. Um, yes, and it's a super, super great idea. One of the things, as you were talking about my journey, and I love that you remember that, right? I guess that is how we met. But when I was volunteering at a church in Brooklyn, I felt like that was my part-time, full-time job because I always lead with passion, and I always loved like working with people and community. And so, working for the school system, Department of Ed in New York, working in community, I was trying to bridge the things that I love, right? And so it was a lot of work. It's taxing, but I loved it. I will say that no matter what in this journey, anything that I chose to do, I did love it. Now, you don't always love how you get to things. So like the people, there's always sometimes challenges because they don't know where you're going. So they think, oh, that sounds crazy. Like if you have an idea about something. And so I know when we met, I had not started my doctoral program, my doctoral studies yet. So when I started that is when I had to say, okay, I'm feeling burned out. When you mentioned burned out at the onset of your program, one of the things that I know, and I want to make sure I'm answering the right question. You said start with that. So working for the Department of Ed and volunteering at a church and then starting a doctoral program. I was feeling tired, loving what I was doing, don't know how I was doing all of it, but balancing. And then I had to make some tough decisions to stop some things. And in order to learn and be better at my journey and craft, I had to give up both things actually in a different way. So did that answer the first part? What would you like to
Well,
know?
but what exactly about that burnt you out going to church? I mean, church is supposed to be refreshing, reviving, and you're going there to commune with your fellow parishioners. What about it burnt you out?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
I
And I want to
know.
be careful the way I respond to this because people have different opinions and perspectives. So I will say this, the work was great, right? It is really, and I love that you labeled your Miriam's mindset. It's about a mindset. So it wasn't that church was the issue, because I want all my church people to know it is not church. Look at the dog. It's the mindset. It's the mindset. Look at Moose. But anyway, so mindset, people don't see where you're going. They don't see the bigger picture, and you get pushed back and they fight you at every turn and every angle. And that can be very hard and challenging. And so if you know you see something going one way, you have to recognize Not everybody can go or can see what you see. And I learned in that time, just to, because I want to be really clear, I learned that everybody's not willing to go. And something a professor taught me while I was in my doctoral studies is that, I was seen as an outsider trying to bring new things in to a place that didn't want it. And that really was eye opening for me on my journey
In a
to
very
find my
traditional church. It was very
a
traditional.
very traditional church
Mhm.
that didn't always want that. And I had to talk to myself about that's not what they want and be okay with that, even though I thought it was for their best interest and it was in their best interest. So I don't want to say it's church. I want to say that my values and my mindset didn't fit what they want.
And
So I
I
always like to
understand
say,
that. I
go
understand
ahead.
that
Sorry.
completely because you know, uh, they're always encouraging churches in general, come volunteer, come help out, come support and play a role in the church. But when you get there and you have ideas, then a lot of times if it's not a growing church, I'll say growing church,
Yes.
they will give you pushback because they don't want to really grow. They're just interested in maintaining the status quo.
Yes. That is
Don't
correct.
change anything.
That is correct. It's like you volunteer in what we already have. Though
Right.
you can see that there could be a need, but I want to, I broach this topic softly only because people will see this and think, oh no, it's not church, it's you. You had a mindset, and it's anywhere you go. If you're traditional and you only have this is your viewpoint and vantage point, you now don't want anything new. And that's kind of a struggle for people who don't want to grow. As you were talking about the progressive churches or churches that want to grow versus traditional, that is a struggle and a strength. Some people can go through the struggle to get to a point of progress. It wasn't for me. It was burning me out. I had to deal with people who were like, some people wanted it and some people didn't, and you're volunteering. So
Hmm.
that was my first burnout. You're right. I loved what I did, though. I thought it worked for the people that were ready, but it was a lesson for me too. It was that, you can only take people who want to go.
Right.
And
And
I
so,
was pulling it, thinking, okay, they're going. And when you feel like you're pulling a boat that is anchored, you can't go anywhere.
that's right. That's right. So then from there, you were also working with the school system, the Department of Ed, and then you had a burnout there too. Right.
Right. I had a burnout there only because I wouldn't even call it that one wasn't so much of a burnout as it was a shift now. I had started my doctoral journey. I needed more time to work that and I couldn't give the 150% that I was giving to that community anymore. I needed something that would sort of give me an opportunity to have more time to do my work. I had to quit the church, quit the school system, and I had to make a tough decision. So here's where the rubber meets the road. And I'll say this part. It was, I had actually come to a crossroad where I said, well, maybe I should give up my scholarship that I got for 5 years to go to school to pursue my PhD and to continue working for the Department of Ed in New York City. This is where you need good people who know better. My mentor said to me, I don't tell you much and I don't get in your business, but that's the wrong decision.
Hmm.
And she said, I will say, Lori, she said, you don't want to do that. You can always come back, but you will not always get a 5-year grant to pursue your PhD. And that was a turning point for me. It was like, one, you had somebody to support you. Two, oh gosh, I must say, I guess it was like burnout. So you mentioned burnout. Maybe I didn't like the word, but burnout is what it was because I was feeling burned out trying to do school and a full-time job with the DOE. And that's where the crossroads came and I had to make a decision. And that decision was the best decision of my life to leave there and pursue
And
school.
that's interesting that that catalyst came from someone else. one of the things that I talk about is that we already know the decisions that we need to make because they're inside of us. God gives us that intuition inside, and that we can always look to God for that decision. So, do you feel like you already kind of knew what you needed to do, or did you really need to hear it from someone else and God was speaking through that other person?
That is a great question. I love it. I don't know if I thought that deeply about it, but now that you said that, I did know it. I believe, now that I'm thinking about, of course, trepidation, fear. You think, oh my goodness, like, should I do this? What am I doing? Am I making this right decision? So, yes, I would answer that yes. And she helped to confirm and affirm that I would be doing the right thing by pursuing my PhD.
Okay, so she already affirmed that. I like that word, affirm what you already knew inside. Yeah. So from there now, I know we both made the journey to another state, back to New Jersey, where we were originally from. And from there, we kind of hung out in New Jersey working and stuff, and you were pursuing your doctorate, and you had that was a long process as well. But now you've done a change. What have you done? What did you do?
What did I do? So, yes, and in between doing the change, I had another job that was not work. It did not work out for me. I did not like that. It wasn't a good company. So we'll just leave that there and say,
Happens. That happens.
it happens, right? I completed my PhD, and I knew, Miriam, that prior to getting the doctorate 5-year fellowship, I wanted to move. I knew this all along. And I thought I was moving to Maryland because my cousin was like, well, aren't you moving here? And I was like, well, I got this 5-year fellowship. I can't really leave. I need to finish this up. So, but I knew once I finished my PhD, that took 7 years and not 5, and that's life. Things happen. I decided it's time to go. So this is where it got really dicey. I said, what? I'm just going to be very candid. My money was funny, right? I did not know how I was going to move, where I was, get there. I decided, I'm just, God, this is on you. If you want me to move, I need $10,500. Well, $10,000 actually. And so that being said, I moved to North Carolina. So that lets you know I got the $10,000, and I actually got $10,500. So over the amount, family, friends stepped in, gave me money that I was not expecting. From the time that I knew I was moving, it was like a 2-week turnaround.
Mhm.
I found a place, I found movers, I packed all of my stuff. And yes, it was nerve-wracking, but once I knew I was moving, that mindset is there. It's changed. I know I'm going, so now I have to pack up and get ready. So I got the money. Yes.
Mhm. So, what is it that made you move? Why? Why did you move? Why not stay where you were?
Okay. So I
Was
believe if
that the
I
part
wanted,
of the breakthrough?
well, as part of the breakthrough, I have to think about this. I knew I wanted someplace, a couple of things. I knew once I finished, I wanted someplace warm. I wanted someplace that was had water and mountains. And I said, where can I go? I couldn't afford Malibu, which was $5 million a home, way across the West Coast. We're on the East Coast. So the next place, I said, oh, North Carolina. Why? I'm not 100% sure the whole why yet. The journey is still be unfolding, but I knew it had those three things that I told you: warm weather, water, and the mountains, and it was less expensive. Excuse me, less expensive. And I said, let's try it. Let's just try it. And if I don't like it, I can always move back. But the second reason to that, just to give you, was the indigenous people. I've always loved to know more about the indigenous people and the Native Americans. And that was a huge place where you could learn more about them. So I packed up my stuff, had
Mhm.
my money, and I
Like the
moved.
Beverly Hillbillies.
The Beverly Hillbillies. And
Yeah,
once, I
on the
will say
age.
this, once I decided, there's no turning back. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm doing.
Right. Okay. So now, in all of that, what role do you feel your faith played in making those decisions and guiding you?
That faith had everything to do with it. I feel like every journey I've taken in life has all been about my faith. I've never allowed fear. Of course, I'm human. You think about things, but I never let it sway me. And I'm always like, if this is God, if this is what you said I'm doing, and you showed me the signs when I was moving to North Carolina, I said, God, show me a sign. I was walking out on the hike on the trail in New Jersey, and I said, God, show me a sign. And these, I don't know if they were birds of prey. It was like 20 birds of prey circling in the air on my journey to asking God, what do I do? What do you want me to do? And he showed me this sign, and I was like, oh my goodness. So I turn around, no one's around. All of a sudden, this lady sees the same thing, because I'm thinking, God, is that my sign?
Mm-hmm.
And Miriam, the lady runs over. She starts to try to take pictures. All of the birds go away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I knew. I said, that was for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the sign. So that faith came from asking God to show me a sign. And
What
I
was
do
the
that for
sign
every.
saying?
I said, if you want me to leave and go to North Carolina, show me something through your animals. That was
Mhm.
my, because, I looked through animals. So those birds of prey circling 20 or more, and it kept coming. I knew that was my sign to go.
So do you think that it's necessary to, oh, I know that about you, that you have this thing with nature and you need to hear from God through nature many times. And so do you feel like a lot of people need to have some type of practice to hear from God, or something that they can be more in tune with when they're listening to intuition or to God's voice?
I love that. I think about this because I ask that of people all the time. How does God talk to them, or whomever they serve? So one of the things, I think it is a practice, but God may be already trying to speak to you through something. And I know it was animals for me, just because of certain things that happened in the past. And I started paying attention. So I would say to anyone, pay attention to the signs when you're looking or asking for something. What is the sign? And if you're really in tune and focused and paying attention and asking God to help you, you're going to know what that sign is for you. I think it's individual. I don't think we all have the same signs
Right.
at all, because God speaks to us all differently.
Mhm.
And I think I want to be clear about that, because there's no one way. Oh, she hears from animals. You may hear a whole different way through people. It used to be through people. So
Mhm.
it really depends. But I do think you need to be asking for or seeking guidance
Mhm.
from God or whomever you serve, to think about that. But I ask God all the time, is this the right thing to do, or what should I do?
Yeah, I believe that too. And so now, since you've made this move, what is your life like now? Do you feel more at peace? Do you feel joy filled? Do you feel like the burnout is gone now? Are you still going through the breakthrough? What's happening now?
Great question. I think so. When I went down there, I went down on 3 premises, and there would start with peace. I said, when I get there, I want to have peace, pleasure, and pursue my purpose, right? Those were my 3. So, of course, you're going to be challenged. I was challenged because my peace was trying to be rocked. I got into a place, and 3 months later, I moved. I had to move because I did not like the place. So the journey is not going to always be easy, but you have to be steadfast on your mission. And you may have roadblocks. So it's like, okay, I have these roadblocks. God, what do you want me to do next?
Mhm.
So other things start appearing. I found an apartment that I loved. When I got down there, and like I told you, it was not peaceful, and it tried to break my peace. I was peaceful. So no, did I have burnout? No, I felt at peace. I actually felt really happy
With
to
no
be
job.
there. Yeah, job was done. No job, school, nothing. This is why I had to pray for that $10,000 to come. And it came to me within the 2 weeks, as I was saying earlier. But one of the things I noticed, I said, God, you're with me. So, and I knew no one down there. So I thought.
Mhm.
I went down there on my own. Everybody's like, you don't have family down there? No, no family. They live 2 hours away.
No backup
It was
plan.
no backup plan, just that God said go, and I was going.
Yeah.
And that sounds crazy to others, but it sounds so real to me. This is how I live my life.
Hmm.
You know, so my three P's, as I told you, peace, pleasure, and purpose. And I get there, love it, except for the apartment, changed apartments. I started looking for work, but because the apartment was so, I can't, it just was not what I was expecting. I want to use a better word, but that's the word I'm thinking. It just wasn't for me. I could not even get to my plan, which was to start connecting more with people, working with the colleges. I decided, well, let me do to get to know the neighborhood. I would do a Uber Eats and DoorDash, and so that was the best thing that ever happened. I got to know the neighborhoods. I found my apartment that I'm in. Loved it, love it, loved it. It was doing what it needed to do for the time that I was in transition, right? So I
So a
did
lot of
that.
people can, I just want to say that a lot
Tell
of
me.
people could consider that as a setback. Like you went from working for the New York Board of Ed, which is
Mhm.
it's a pretty cushiony job. Then you had another job that was pretty cushiony. You got your doctorate, you moved to North Carolina, and now you're doing Uber Eats.
Uber Eats. And other people may look at that as, a step down or look at that, but that's not the way I saw it. I still love community. I love people. I go back to my foundation. So, what way to know a community, but then to go deliver Uber
In the
Eats and get
community.
to know people and meet the people that you may eventually either work for, work with, or come in community with volunteering. So, and I will say to you, that's how I got my apartment. And again, I don't feel any way except that this is a means to an end until, because I know I have next. Next, I'm working on my business and working with, hopefully with some colleges. So now, I don't know if we're fast forwarding, but I'm fast forwarding to now that I'm at another breaking through and pivot. It is now time to focus on my business, which is working with PhD students, coaching and advocating, really building that up and having these conferences. And I'm saying that out loud because I want it to be in North
Speak it.
Carolina.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm speaking that and I'm talking faith walks and talks. And I call it yellow brick roading. Yellow brick roading is letting the road guide you, even though you don't know where that's going to take you. But guess what? I do know at every turn, God has me and always has my back.
That's right.
And I'm confident in that. I can tell you that.
So, to other people who are experiencing burnout and they want to know when their next breakthroughs coming, what advice would you give them?
It's a great question. I would definitely say to them, stay focused on your goal. Like, what is your purpose? And if you don't know your purpose, try to find some things that work that you feel like give you joy or speak to you. That's one. If you know your job is not bringing you joy and you feel burned out and you feel like you've given your all, I would say to you, switch. You have to trust yourself and have enough faith to know to do that. Because otherwise, Miriam, what's happening is you're living this life. Here you are, you turn 65, 75. Oh, I did this and I wish you living with regrets,
Yes.
right? And
Mhm.
so, why would you want to live with that? I'd rather live with, I tried it, it did not work for me, and now I'm going to continue versus I'm here. Yes, I was a good worker. I worked till I'm 65. Then now I can live. I just don't believe you're supposed to wait until then to live. And so my thing is follow your heart and your passion and start like teaching yourself, going to classes, getting some certificates so that you can feel better about your decision and really staying in tune with God or however you believe. But definitely, if you're a believer of God, believe that God, if this is for me, how do I please show me the way? Bring the people in my life. I'm always one to say that. Bring the people, places, or things in my life that are going to make a difference and show me my trajectory from here on.
And so I was going to ask you, what was one piece of advice that has helped you or saved you throughout this journey, or a scripture or something. So would that be it, or do you have a specific scripture that you call
I,
on?
so I do two scriptures. One is, well, my favorite is Matthew 7:7. Ask, seek, and knock. You have to ask for it, seek it out, and knock so the door can open for you. That's my favorite. And the second one is Habakkuk 2, and I think it's 2:2 and 2:3, which is write the vision and make it plain.
Mm,
Right? So if you got to write, if you know you have a vision, you must write it down, look at it, and pursue it.
mhm.
And I believe that is when you get to what you want. And I will add this, as close as you get to your dream, the roadblocks are going to come, and they're going to come fast and furious. So what I say to anybody is be on the lookout for the roadblocks and know what they are and call them out and say, I see you, roadblock. You're
That's
not
right.
going to get me, and
Yes.
I'm still going towards my dreams that bring me joy.
I agree wholeheartedly. So now, with what you're doing now, is there a way that people can find out what you're going to be doing next, or anything like that? Or
I love it. So one of the things they can do for now is follow me on my Instagram pages. I'm revamping my website, so it will be back up. It's buildb3.com.
I'll link it
So
below
that's,
too.
yes, you can see that below. And then my Instagram is building B3. So if you want to contact me, you can go to my website that is being revamped. It's buildb3.com. Or you can look at my social media pages, which are building B3. And the other one is Black Wed, which is Black Women Earning Doctoral Degrees on Instagram. And look forward to that website. That's coming soon. So that's on the horizon. Before the new year is out, comes in, you will see that up.
I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, always wish you the best on your journey. I'm always glad to speak with you about what I'm going through, about what you're going through. And I'm glad that other people are tuning in, and then they can learn from what we're talking about today, because it is a real issue and a lot of people don't know what to turn. They're afraid to take that leap. And we're both here to tell you, just do it. Just
Just
do
do
it.
it. Can
Yeah.
I just add, and I love that you always will start up a new journey, try it out, and you are always so good at the way you ask questions, the way you make me feel comfortable, people, and I appreciate seeing your journey and excited about this new endeavor for you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
yes,
you.
thank
All
you for
right.
having me.
You're welcome. All right. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.